Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you need to develop into a better leader, this podcast is for you. If you want to achieve a greater level of success, this podcast is for you. His mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, said it best: everything rises and falls on leadership. We hope to inspire you today and provide you with an insight that has the potential to positively impact the trajectory of your life. Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast.
We have incredible businesses, but with that, we have a responsibility. 90% of us will be solely responsible for our financial lives at some point. It's due to death, divorce. The good news is we outlive our husbands by 7 years. The bad news is we outlive our husband by 7 years, right? So we have a responsibility. We need to educate ourselves. We need to understand not only how to hold that 60% of wealth, but how to invest it and make it grow for generational wealth. And what stops us? Well, we have that little devil in our ear that says, you're not worthy. You're not good enough. You're not an expert. These guys, they have no problem saying, I'm an expert, right? I'm an expert. Women, I'm pretty good at it. Also, easy for her to say. I bet a few of you in there are thinking, about me like that. Easy for her to say. I started with nothing. Lots of ups and downs. And then my favorite, you're too old. You're too old. Well, I love this study because it says our maximum brain capacity is in our 50s. I like that number. But I like even more the fact that it stays with us until we're in our 90s. So what gets in our way? Lack of focus, lack of clarity, lack of motivation, passion. Usually that means we're not on the right track. We're not doing what we're meant to do. Wrong associations is a big one. People in your life holding you back instead of people pushing you forward. Having that right mentor, you've heard about that today, mentor that's going to open the door for you, introduce you new paths. Having the right people on your team that are doing the things you shouldn't be doing. You should be focusing on your strengths and hiring your weaknesses so that you can have the greatest contribution and the greatest success. And then fear. The fear of criticism, big one today. Fear of failure, but a lot of times it's fear of success. Fear of success, we don't know what to do with it. We want to step back out of the limelight. And then lack of self-confidence. That's something that is huge, particularly for women. We don't stand in our own power. I want you to stand in your own power. So I want you to review your personal success equation. Ask yourself what you can do to change your trajectory for success. What association do you need to play big? Because the play big movement is about being number one in your field, living your legacy. You create your legacy with every heart you touch every day, and then creating maximum impact.
Well, thank you for that. I get asked that question a lot, and I'm going to tell you what my normal answer is, and then I'll give you an answer to that you're hoping for. But my normal answer is I try not to look back. I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for all the things that have happened to me in my life, positive and negative. Of course, if I could change losing a child, I certainly would do that. Nice. But I think we have to not look back. We need to look forward. You're in the driver's seat. You have your hand on the steering wheel, your foot on the gas. You have a huge windshield. You can go anywhere you want. The rear view mirror is very small because we're just supposed to learn from the past. And so I don't know, I wouldn't know who I would be today if I went back and changed myself at 17. However, the advice I give to 17-year-olds today is that you can be anything you want. You can do anything you want if you apply yourself and you find the right mentors and you keep learning, and always focus on solving problems, serving needs, and buying, building, creating assets. Go after the asset, not the paycheck, not the income. Build the asset that creates the income.
Wow, that is very, very, very powerful. Now, is there a question I should have asked you, Sharon, that I haven't asked yet? Anything else you wanted to share before we end?
Well, I would invite people to reach out to me with any questions. As I said, I have lots of online programs. If you're stressed out about money, we have a money mastery program all the way up to essential components of a successful business. So lots of programs. I also have one-on-one mentoring. I have a mentoring retreat at our ranch here in Arizona. So please reach out to us to see how we can serve you. That's our goal, is to support you and elevate financial well-being of all of you.
All right, everybody. This is Coach Busy, and you were just listening to the one and only, the legendary Sharon Lechter. We had a wonderful leadership conversation last week, and today we're going to be doing the 10-minute recap of that conversation. But before we do that, let's go ahead and have our moment of gratitude. It only takes less than a minute, and I would like for you, if possible, close your eyes, put yourself in your happy place, and think about one thing that you are grateful for today. What are you grateful for? I think today I am grateful that I've really been mentored by the best in the business, right? Many of them I have seen in person, and others I've been mentored from a distance by reading their books, going through their courses, and listening to their audio training. People like Sharon Lechter, she definitely has affected my life a lot with her work with the Napoleon Hill Foundation and Think and Grow Rich, and a lot of what she teaches, and Rich Dad and so really, really grateful for her mentor, Dr. Johnson. He's written more than 90 books, almost all of them New York Times bestsellers. It's just incredible. So really, really grateful to be mentored by giants like that. People like Brian Tracy, people like Darren Hardy, people like Tony Robbins, people like Les Brown, Willie Jolie. I mean, on and on and on and on. Really, the best in the business. Zig Ziglar when he was alive. So there are just so many people, great people who've had a huge, huge impact on my life since I was a teenager. And I think mentorship is a master key to success. The great late General Colin Powell and many, many other people who have really made a very, very significant, I've had a significant impact on my life, my success, and the man I am today. That's part of the reason why I really do this podcast, and I write a leadership article every single day, because I would like to pass on to the next generation everything I have learned. So let me know what you are grateful for, and please type it in the comment, and also let us know which city, which state you are tuning in from. Okay, now for the next 10 minutes, we are going to play the 10-minute recap done by my AI agent, and then I will be back after that. If you have a question for me, please type into the comment as well. Thank you. Here we go.
Welcome to the session. Today we're diving into some powerful leadership principles and financial empowerment insights drawn from Sharon Lechter's talk on leading with purpose.
I'm really excited about that. These ideas, they really make you think about life differently, right?
Absolutely. You know, one of the first ideas Sharon drives home is that you are the CEO of your life. It's like you have total ownership over your decisions, and even the smallest habits steer you either forward or back.
Yep, right, and that resonates so much with leaders, whether you're in the military or in tech. It's all about taking control rather than just floating around.
Exactly. And then there's the transformative idea on financial freedom. Assets feed you, liabilities eat you. It's a wake-up call, telling us not to value money in a wallet, but rather to build assets that work for us.
I mean, that kind of shifts your focus from chasing paychecks to creating income streams that sustain you over time.
Right. And it's especially relevant for young leaders who are just stepping into their careers. Think about it. Every choice you make, every investment, becomes a brick in your financial legacy.
Yeah, and speaking of legacy, Sharon really emphasizes that our legacy is built daily, not just in financial success, but in how much value we add to others' lives.
Exactly. And she even asks, have you added value to someone's life today? It really underpins the idea that leadership isn't a one-off act, it's a daily commitment.
Right, absolutely. That's a neat way of linking personal success to service, which is something a lot of traditional leadership theories overlook.
Spot on. And then she tackles a crucial subject, women stepping into their financial power. It's a bold reminder, especially when she cites statistics like 80% of married men and 80% of women. Well, trust me, it's a call to action.
Now, one point I'd like to challenge a bit. Don't you think those statistics, while empowering, might oversimplify some of the systemic issues women face?
That's a fair point. I mean, Sharon's intent is to inspire, but sometimes the numbers can seem a bit, stark. Yet, her core message remains: educate yourself, establish credit, and don't leave your financial destiny to chance.
True, it kind of demands that you take full responsibility for your own financial journey.
Exactly. And that ties into the idea of turning your mess into your message. She talks about how every adversity, whether it's a financial setback, divorce, or even something as devastating as the loss of a loved one, can be repurposed into a mission for others.
Yeah, it's almost like saying, turn your struggle into your strength. That perspective can really change one's trajectory, huh?
Right, it's like rather than wallowing in setbacks, you channel that energy into creating value and inspiring others.
Very true. And speaking of channeling energy, another point that stood out to me was the call for definite purpose, with that powerful why not mantra.
Yes, Sharon's approach is so refreshing. It's like writing why not across a page and letting that propel you into uncharted territories, whether it's solving a problem or serving a need.
It's a daring invitation, almost challenging the very norms of playing it safe.
Exactly. And that's why it resonates with both military officers and tech innovators. It's a mindset that unlocks possibility.
Yep, definitely. Now, another powerful takeaway is about fear. Sharon reframes fear as fuel. Instead of letting worry paralyze you, she suggests turning it into focused energy.
Totally. I mean, it's like saying, replace that fear with fuel that turns into faith. It redefines fear from a weakness into an empowering force.
That's really an inspiring twist, making fear a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block.
Absolutely. And it closely ties with her overarching leadership message. Leadership begins inside. You can't lead others effectively if you aren't mastering your inner game first.
That introspection is key. It reminds us that the battle for success is often internal before it's external.
For sure. And then there's the fascinating incorporation of Napoleon Hill's concepts through Outwitting the Devil. It's a provocative way to expose how fear, doubt, and external pressures can sabotage success if you let them.
That's right. I love how Sharon modernizes Hill's insights, urging us to reclaim our freedom by confronting these fears head on.
It's like using a centuries-old framework to tackle today's challenges, reminding us that many of our internal battles remain the same, no matter the era.
Yeah, exactly. And that also ties into the broader idea of self-discipline. Making deliberate, intentional choices each day builds resilience and ultimately leads to freedom.
Right. Self-discipline is what shapes our habits. When you master your daily actions, you essentially build a fortress against all the negative influences out there.
It almost sounds like constructing a personal brand of resilience, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like every deliberate positive choice is a brick in your foundation for success.
And then there's the dynamic idea behind the power of association. Sharon talks about how successful businesses thrive on partnerships, leveraging relationships to accelerate success.
Absolutely. She mentions partnerships with giants like Disney and Warner Brothers as proof that when you surround yourself with ambitious, value-driven people, you elevate your game.
That's a powerful reminder for leaders everywhere. Your network isn't just there to support you, it can actively propel you forward.
Yep, it's all interconnected. Leadership begins within, financial freedom is built on assets, and the right associations can amplify all your efforts.
Right. And what's amazing is how Sharon ties all these lessons with a straightforward call to action. To not only think big, but also play big by stepping into responsibility.
Exactly. She encourages everyone to get daily deposits of abundance and mentoring through her platform. Because truly, lasting impact comes from continuous learning and action.
That's a neat encapsulation. It's like every lesson is a mini masterclass in leadership and life design.
Absolutely. The key takeaways are crystal clear. Be the CEO of your life, build assets over liabilities, step boldly into your financial power, especially for women, and always add value daily.
Indeed. I love how these ideas interweave practical steps with an empowering mindset. It really sets a blueprint for anyone striving to make a meaningful impact.
Exactly, and remember, as Sharon puts it, leadership begins inside. So, mastering ourselves is the only way to truly lead others successfully.
Absolutely. And with that, I think it's fair to say that the insights we discussed aren't just for financial literacy, they are universal lessons on purpose and legacy.
For sure, it leaves us asking, why not take that leap today and turn our own challenges into our greatest strengths?
Yep, that's the spirit. I can't wait to see how these principles will inspire, innovate, and lead to transformative actions across all walks of life.
Well said, and thanks for this engaging chat. Remember, folks, lead with purpose and play big.
And on getting into their first job.
Well, I think it's important to understand it's not what you do for your paycheck that determines your financial future. It's what you do with your paycheck that determines your financial future. With every dollar, you have a choice. Do you keep it and have it work for you, or do you let it flow through your fingers and lose it? And we're very consumerism minded. So people are taught to buy what you want, put it on credit, and that's where you start digging yourself a hole into bad debt. So understanding the importance of holding on to it and investing that money, and then doesn't mean you can't enjoy buying wonderful things, but buy it from the cash flow from the assets, not from the money when you earn the dollars.
Wow, that is a big distinction. But really, everything you teach, I think, is simple, not simplistic. But I guess the secret really is in the execution, isn't it?
Yeah, I talk about my favorite word on earth is assets.
Asset, yes.
And I say assets are sexy
Yes.
because you are financially free when the income from your assets exceed your monthly expenses. Then you're taken care of. Your assets are providing for you. If you get sick, the money's still coming in. And so you are financially free when the income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses. That's why I say assets are sexy. And then I add, the older you get, the sexier they become.
Yes. Wow. Especially for young people, I think we think that one asset would be like buying a house. But podcast where I ask you, what do you think is the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
The greatest lesson I've ever learned. Well, probably adding value to people's lives every day. That's probably because that's really been the North Star for me for my entire life. But then also, when I left public accounting, I was very successful, but one of my clients invited me to leave public accounting to go into a company that was buying out of bankruptcy. And I still remember going back to my condo. Back then, we didn't have PCs or cell phones, so it was the old yellow legal pad. And I had pros and cons, and it didn't help me a bit because I could choose either. I could argue both sides. I could stay where I was, stay in public accounting, but I wasn't in control of my own life. I was working incredibly long hours, or I could take the risk and step into a world of the unknown. My hand took off across the top of the page and said, why not? That is my second guidance star. Why not take the path less traveled?
Yes.
Why not solve a problem or serve a need? The most successful businesses all solve problems and serves needs. And so why not was my trigger that made me leave public accounting at that time. And I still use, it is still my trigger today. That's, the why not. I was mad about negativity. Why not do something about it? So I did the ATMs. This year, so many people were stressed out about investing. So I said, okay, solve a problem, serve a need. So I literally just finished a complete course called Investing in Uncertain Times.
Wow.
And that investing in uncertain times is all about equities, real estate, Bitcoin, digital currencies, Forex trading, gold and silver, tax situations, building a business. So I went through it in 9 segments.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Now I think you know why Sharon is just a master, a legend. I've learned so much from her, but I think probably the most important thing I have learned from Sharon is really turning fear into fuel, right? And eventually into faith. I think it is so important to do, right? Uh, Many times another mentor of mine, Miles Monroe, said that one of the richest place in any city, the wealthiest place, actually Les Brown said that too, but I first heard it from Miles Monroe. In any city, the wealthiest place is the cemetery because people have died with dreams. They have died with things they could have done, but for whatever reason, mostly I think because of fear, they decided not to do it, or maybe they were afraid of what people would say, how other people would feel, or what if they fail. But then Sharon asked, why not? What if you succeed, right? So I think one of my goals is to really attempt to die empty. All of the potential I have within me, everything I want to do, everything I was called to do, I want my purpose to be fulfilled on earth. So I want to die completely empty. I want to give what I need to give. I want to add value to the people of the organization I need to add value to. And that's one thing Sharon has really taught me. You need to get the courage to do what you are called to do, even with the possibility of failing. At least try, right? Another one of my mentors says, no, you cannot score. When you play basketball, right, it is impossible to score for shots that you did not take, right? You have to shoot the ball. Now, maybe it's going to get into the basket and you're going to win, and maybe it's not, but at least, you know, you attempted, at least you tried, right? I can sleep easy at night knowing that I've done everything I could, everything I knew to do to add value. Even when I became a commanding officer in the US Navy, one thing they taught us was to really finish the workday completely empty. You've given it everything you could give. Now, things will not always go the way you wish them to go, but at least you have tried and you've given your very, very best effort. That's really all the Navy can ask of you. That's all any organization and anyone can ask of you. Anyway, so let us know what are your key takeaway from the great conversation I had with Sharon. She was so generous with her time, and I am so grateful that she was able to be here with us and really teach us from her wisdom. And I'm hoping that you guys are getting her books. And she recommends really purchasing this one book, Outwitting the Devil. And if you go to her website, you can actually get the audio book, which she hired Hollywood actors, and she's used voice drama, and you're really gonna understand how to overcome fear. And I think fear 90% of the time is really what stops great people from being great, from doing what nobody else would do. And sometimes you may just have a very small idea, but you have no idea how big that small idea could become and how it might potentially change your life and the life of your loved one. Think of people like Jeff Bezos. He completely put everything into Amazon, having an online store to sell books. What a crazy idea that was. And they left a very, very good job with great salaries and benefits to put everything he had into that one idea. And today, all of the national bookstore have gone bankrupt, except maybe for Barnes and Noble. But even Barnes and Noble, they are closing stores right and left. I think we used to have 5 Barnes and Noble stores in the Bay Area. Now we only have 2. Right, and Jeff Bezos is mostly responsible for that. Stores like Toys R Us, they used to sell toys, but guess what? People buy their toys on Amazon now. All of the Toys R Us stores are completely closed. They all went bankrupt. Right, just one little idea made him one of the richest men in the world, at least in the top 3. At one point, he was the wealthiest man on the planet. So what I'm saying is, yes, you have great ideas, but those ideas don't mean anything unless you actually take action and you implement them. Again, you don't have any guarantee of success, but why not, right? What if you succeed? At least try. So turn your fear into fuel and your fuel into faith. All right, that's all I am going to say about that. Tomorrow I'm going to be back and we're going to have a 10-minute leadership conversation recap from the meeting I had with Captain Select Desmond Walker. So that's going to be tomorrow, and I wish you guys can join me. And we will also have on Saturday. I'm going to be talking with Captain Michael Salehi, one of my mentors. He's done great things in the Navy, and he's going to be here with us on Saturday. And I hope you guys can make it. So until tomorrow, have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our channels and come back for more wisdom nuggets on how you may develop into a better leader and achieve greater levels of success. Leadership is the most critical skill. The world will always need leaders to lead others, deploy the next disruptive technology, or execute a business strategy. You may as well decide on counting yourself among the 21st century leaders. See you right here next time on the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.